Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about proof of stake chains. I built a spreadsheet for you guys to break down 7 of the top proof of stake cryptocurrencies that are out there. And then I added a bonus small cap proof of stake cryptocurrency to the list. These chains are Ethereum, Cardano, Polygon, Avalanche, Atom, Near, Tezos, and the bonus is Findora. I've previously made videos about this, so if you want to find out more about that chain, you can definitely go and check out those videos on my channel. I'm not going to be talking about any of these chains specifically and what they're building. I am just looking at some analytics and some data that I pulled together for you guys to show off why these proof of stake chains are great and which one out of these in this list is the best based on these metrics that I chose. So these metrics that we're going to be discussing today are: 1, market cap. And the reason that I chose that data set is because the higher the market cap is, the more builders are going to come to the ecosystem and build on those chains. And the more lush the network becomes, people get involved, people want to stake and delegate their tokens, their coins on that chain because it has a thriving economy. Next up was percent staked. The reason that I chose this metric was because the more percentage you have staked on your network, the more the network becomes secure on a proof of stake network. That also locks up tokens that can't be sold on exchanges. So it's good all around to look at that metric. Next up, we had validator count. The reason that I chose validator count instead of any other thing to look at decentralization is because I don't want to get into an argument in this video talking about what actually is decentralized and what isn't on a network. I just figured I wanted to look at one data set and say, okay, this is what I'm going to use to look at the decentralization metric. And so I chose validator count. And that's that. Next up, I chose transaction speed to show off the speed of these transactions, and I literally went in and did transactions on each one of these chains this morning personally and wrote the times down. I took my stopwatch out on my phone and I wrote down the times. And then the next thing on the list was fees in US dollars. I wrote those down as well. So each transaction that I did a very small amount in each of these transactions using the recommended fee that was available on each of these chains. And then I wrote the fee down for you guys to see what an average fee and an average transaction time looks like. The next metric that I wrote down was number of developers in the ecosystem. I think that's incredibly important because the more developers you have, there was a study done that showed the more developers you have on your chain, the higher your market cap. There's a direct correlation there between number of developers and market cap. So that's why I chose that metric. The next thing on the list was annual percentage rate, APR. The reason that I chose this one is because I wanted to show off some of these juicy APRs out there that are available to be staked on some of these networks, to show you guys that there are some incredibly high APRs available out there with some of these chains, even some of these top chains. And then the last metric that I wanted to look at was percent down from all-time high. Now, obviously, the entire market is in a downturn right now. We're clearly in a bear market, and I'm not trying to say that any of these chains are bad because of how far they've fallen from their all-time high. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. I'm just showing off some of these chains have done considerably well relative to the market, and I wanted to show some of those off. So what I did with this entire spreadsheet was I looked at all of the factors that I just listed off, and I created a tally system. So the higher the number, the worse in that category that chain was. So you want a lower number, and the total number you want to be as low as possible. So what I broke this down into was each category got tallies, and the best chain came out with the lowest number, 1, obviously. Worst chain came in at 8th, and I tallied everything up at the end, and these are my results. Let's show them off. All right, so as you can see, Ethereum clearly has the highest market cap here. There's not even a competition there, but Ethereum has been around for quite a long time. It's the oldest smart contract chain, so it makes sense that it has such a large market cap. Findora, my little Findora down here, has a market cap of 9.7 million. So incredibly small. It obviously came in last. Percent staked, I was a little bit shocked by. Cardano and Tezos came in very, very high, while Ethereum came in incredibly low. Now, obviously, the merge just happened, and so that's why this is so low at only 12.13%. But Cardano and Tezos were both above 70%. That is really amazing to see on a proof of stake chain. Those are very secure chains because of it. Next up, we had validator count, and Ethereum came in incredibly high with this one, 439,737. Wow. Wow. Incredibly high validator count. Next highest was Cardano with only 2,978. I say that like it's small compared to Ethereum, but that's still relatively high compared to the rest of these proof of stake chains. I mean, look at this. Polygon with only 100, Cosmos, Atom with 175, Near with 116, Findora with 109. So to see the monolith, Ethereum, with 439,000 is just ridiculous. Next up, we had transaction speeds, and I was really shocked with Near on this one. Incredibly shocked. 6.28 seconds is how fast my transaction went through on Near. So that was really awesome to see. The longest, though, was actually Cardano, which they just had a huge upgrade. I did a video on the Vassal hard fork. They just had that about a week ago. And so I was a little bit shocked to see 32.4 second transaction time, especially when Ethereum came in at 23.39 seconds. But also Tezos is one of those slower chains to create upgrades for because the entire network has to vote on these upgrade proposals. So I knew that that one was going to be slower than others, but still kind of shocked to see that. Next up, we had fees for these transactions that I did. Findora came in first place, baby. Findora did incredibly well on transaction fees, like less than 1% of a penny. So that was really awesome to see. Then we had Polygon was very cheap, Avalanche was very cheap, and Near was incredibly cheap. So seeing Near come in first and second place on both the transaction speed and the fee was really interesting to see. Next up, we had developers. Ethereum clearly took the cake on this one. Over 4,000 developers building on Ethereum because obviously it has the highest market cap. We already talked a little bit about the correlation there between developers and market cap, and this kind of proves that point here. Something that I do want to go over though here is Atom. I looked at this study from December of 2021. Obviously, this data has probably changed since then. In fact, I know it's changed. But this data was available to me, and it showed off all of the figures for all of these chains, except for Findora. Obviously, Findora is so small that nobody's really doing research on it just yet. But Atom, Cosmos, it specifically said Cosmos. It didn't say Atom in this study. So I'm wondering if it was for the entire Cosmos ecosystem. There's over 950 developers, or if it was specifically talking about Cosmos Hub, Atom. So take what you will with that. I put it in here, but if it was specifically, or if it was naming off the entire Cosmos ecosystem, then that could change all of the results in this study that I did here. So keep that in mind. Next up, we had APR, and the two that I was kind of shocked by were both Cosmos and Near. They had very juicy APRs, whereas Findora, it's a brand new chain. I knew that the APR was going to be high because not many people are staking yet, and rewards are still incredibly high for the fact that it's a brand new chain. But Near and Atom still have very incredible APRs, both being in the double digits. So seeing Atom at 18.9% is awesome. Very awesome. And honestly, I think that APR is kind of why I got this last figure, the percent down from all-time high. Atom finished in first place on this at only 70.6% down from all-time high. And that's still a very high number to be down from all-time high. But when you look at some of these other numbers, like Findora was at 96.5%. Then we had Avalanche at 88.1%. Cardano, 86.05%. Tezos, 84.1%. So to see this at 70.6% Atom was very fascinating. So let's look at the totals. Atom came in first place, very solid across the board, but then Near came in second place. And honestly, I am just shocked with these numbers when you break it down. I was not expecting either of these to come in the top two slots. In third place, we had Polygon. I kind of expected that Polygon would be in the top three, but I really thought that Ethereum was going to make it into the top three, and it came in fourth place. In fifth place, we had Avalanche. In sixth place, we had Cardano. In seventh place, we had Tezos. Was kind of expecting that. And in eighth place, we had Findora. I was definitely expecting that one there. But all in all, a very fascinating study. I really enjoyed putting this together. And if you enjoyed it as well, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't hit that notification bell, please do so because it really helps my channel grow. It shows you whenever I upload a new video, and that really helps me out. That's going to be it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. Crypto Clay out.